From our new studio here in Golden, Colorado to you, a lot is going on. First of all, weather-wise, drought conditions. A lot of concern for drought out there. As I've been trying to explain and forecast and predict, this weather pattern, either droughts are expanding or shrinking, and it looks like this one is shrinking. Still some dry areas though, and we're going to go over that here today in the latest update. I've been at the Connects FM. FM stands for Facility Management, and I've been at that conference. I was an MC of a big gala a couple nights ago, so I've been pretty distracted. However, you know I've got my pulse on this weather situation, so let's get started and show you what is going on in this crazy weather pattern that is right on schedule. All right, so we can see here drought conditions are shrinking. They're either shrinking or expanding. And we're going to take an analysis of this spring weather pattern and what lies ahead on this August 11th report. We'll still do next week's update on Tuesday or Wednesday. Look closely at this. All right? Drought conditions on April 8th. I want to compare it now. I want to compare this to November, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, all right? Look at this. You see that? Let's look at that again. Look at how either drought conditions are shrinking or growing. This is November 5th, shrinking conditions. Now, look at Southwest Texas right in here, all right? Look at this area all the way through the Southwest. This is the area we thought would struggle this year. And then watch up through the plains. Watch all the way through here. This is November 5th. And this is the current. Notice the drought conditions. Look over the Ohio River Valley. Look at this whole area. Watch this. Watch closely. All right? That drought went away. All the drought conditions got wiped out by all that flooding. You can see. And for Kansas City, any dry concerns have been reduced to just a few abnormally dry pockets. And in North Dakota, the extreme drought in the red has shrunk. See that? So the drought is shrinking. Still pockets of dry weather. Just want to share that with you. That is the latest conditions. This is right now. This is the latest as of just a couple of days ago. Now the Southwest, drought conditions increasing. New Mexico, I think, is going to fill in with some precipitation in the next few weeks as well, so that drought area should be diminished. The crystal ball of weather forecasting, the LRC. The weather pattern is cycling close to every 6 weeks. And significant weather events, as you can see here, significant weather events predicted weeks to months in advance, over 90% accurate on predicting where these severe weather outbreaks will happen. And we can even get down to the prediction of a possible tornado into even a location. That accuracy is 2% compared to 90% for these significant weather events. Weather 2020 is the #1 hurricane season predictor over the past 3 years. As you can see here, this is official based on data from the Barcelona Supercomputing Center from 22 to 24. It's not even close. Weather 2020's accuracy score is way above all of the others over the past 3 years. You can't make this up. It's another one of those awards. You can't make this up award. This is an outlook that we updated and showcased and predicted on February 8th for the last week of April, basically. It's starting to show up. This is the part of the pattern that killed 40 people, including the 8 people in the dust storm in Kansas. This part of the pattern is going to return during the last week of April. So notice how we have severe weather risk from Kansas City to Nashville back to Dallas. So we'll see how it sets up in the next 2 weeks. Between now and then, there's some interesting developments. All of a sudden, the last night's data showed a whole bunch of rain across North Dakota and South Dakota, Minnesota. So look at this, 2 inches in pink or higher. It's 2 inches of rain. Look at that. You can see the key here. Pink is 2 inches to purple. So still some dry areas around western Kansas, southeast Colorado. We'll see about that. This is just the American model. A couple dry pockets there in western Iowa. I'm not so sure about that. I think they'll fill in when that system comes through with severe weather, and still some very wet areas. So this is the outlook for the next 15 days. And you can see the plains and the Corn Belt starting to get a little wetter. So something to watch as we go right through this pattern. In the last few months, when the LRC began, we'll consider day one of this year's LRC, October 5th, to a few days ago. Look at this. Watch up here, below average. So watch this shrink. I'm going to add just 10 days. See that? It shrunk a little bit. Look at that again. There's another, just showing how the precipitation is starting to fall in spots that were getting missed. Still a little bit below average, but it is definitely improving there. Temperature-wise, even with those two brutally cold outbreaks in January and February, above average temperatures have been the trend for the entire LRC. So we're expecting this spring and summer to be near to a little bit above average in most spots. When will the heat waves be? We will talk about that coming up here in the next couple weeks. We'll start looking into summer. The LRC model forecast, the patent pending LRC model that you can have in your fingertips. Let me show you how this works. We called up this area, and those of you that do have the Weather 2020 Vision dashboard, you can call up any one of these areas, or this, you can call up one state and go all the way down to your county. This is the forecast from April 15th to June 30th for the Corn Belt. You can see here still some dry pockets in there. The percentage of average rainfall, a few pockets still 70 to 80% of average, but most of Kansas, Missouri into the Indiana, Illinois area are going to be fine. Iowa, near average to above average in a few pockets. I just also showed this the cold part of the pattern will come back, but look, that's above freezing. This is averaging out the entire region, but if there's any last frost or freeze, it may come mid-May, and but that probably doesn't happen. But just know that that's when the cold part of the pattern comes back. Very interesting. Rainfall day by day, but I want to show you another region. This is Nebraska and Iowa. And I could have called up South Dakota, Minnesota. Let me know, but I'll try to add you into that report next week. I just want to call Nebraska and Iowa. This is total rainfall. You can see here some spots around 20 inches of rain or more between April 15th and September the 30th. So through planting, growing, and harvest seasons, Iowa should be fine on rainfall, even though this is still closer to average rainfall. So you can see there. And then this is brand new, updated as of this week. These are the wet weeks and the dry weeks forecasted. All right, and so you can see the driest week on this model says around May 8th. This is the 10th. This is the blue sky part of the pattern. What's amazing when you see this dip down here, every 6 weeks we go through a 3 or 4 day stretch where it's been completely blue sky with no rain or even clouds at all. That just went through in the past week. That will return here and here and here and here. And then I did day by day. Here's week by week. Watch this. Day by day. And this is for Nebraska and Iowa. All right. So here is the next week or so. A little storm in there next week as well. And then towards the end of April, that's when that big severe weather outbreak is likely. It shows it here in the above average rainfall for Nebraska and Iowa. And then there's the dry spell and the blue sky part of the pattern. And then here comes the wet period late May through mid-June before summer settles in. Then as summer settles in, you're going to start to get concerned that it's going to dry out. And then July should be fine on precipitation. But summer is more of a wild card. But there is your forecast all the way through next September. It really gets wet towards the end of September. So when we get to harvest, let's keep this in mind. And we'll keep track of this. But of course, the new LRC sets up right about then. You see this again. Remember, if you do have the Weather 2020 Vision dashboard, not only do you get your state, if you want the whole United States, you can have that too. but you can go down to your county, and when you hover over these counties, it'll give you an amount as well. So the Weather 2020 Vision Dashboard, the only place in the world you can get forecasts through September now using the LRC, and everyone else just gives you maybe an average. So you can contact me, contact Bryce, or just go to our website, weather2020.com, and you can access our products there. The severe weather guide is out. The hurricane forecast guide is out now. If you want to join that, we'll be having a webinar next month. If you join that, we'll be talking about that hurricane season. So there you go. I hope everyone is doing great. Again, a lot going on with Weather 2020. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much for being customers. Have a great day.